Right, so on to another video. Um, what we're looking at here is the field flattener that has arrived for the Esprit, and that's going to essentially connect to and replace the field flattener that I have here on the on my ASCII 1600 imaging tray as well. So yeah, it's a fairly straightforward affair. However, so I guess some people might be asking us, why do you need a field flattener if you're um, going to be taking images and things like that? And the reason is that with a telescope, you have a curved lens or array of lenses here at this end. You've got the focuser, which is all that is doing is changing the focal length and trying to get things into focus. However, with an eyepiece, then you've got this sort of curved lens, and when you're looking through the eye, the brain is going to essentially adjust to what it's seeing, and it'll be able to do. We've got really intelligent lenses with our brains, connected to our brains, and we'll make all those adjustments without necessarily needing any sort of extra processing. It just happens automatically. Well, we're looking at something, and particularly if you look at your periphery vision, you'll find that is extremely acute. And sometimes, rather than looking at an eyepiece directly, you might actually just turn your eye slightly, because that is where the brain is tuned over through the process of evolution, tuned to look for danger and notice things, and that's how it is. However, when you look at a CMOS sensor or CCD sensor, I'll try and just turn this up in such a way that you can see. At the bottom there, you can see is quite a large, much larger than our eyes, quite a large sensor, and it's flat. So what is the field flattener going to do? Field flattener is going to flatten that the focus of that field across that large area, which is much larger than what's at the back of our eye in the cornea. And so this is why we purchase these things. This is much larger than what I would have expected, but then it's also designed to deal with up to an APS-C sensor. So while I've got an ASCII 600, that's probably only going to deal with sensor sizes. How is it? 21 millimeters by 16 millimeters or something like that. It's not a huge sensor size. And if you watch my earlier video, I did attach onto the end of this a light pollution filter, which was in addition to all the filters that might. And I also hasten to add, I've not actually been able to do any imaging since I made that video. The weather's been terrible. So this is the one that comes with the Esprit, and I have separated it, and all the parts are kind of sort of ready to come apart. I have not yet attached it to the Esprit. However, we will probably do that in this video. I've got the adapter for that. So I just want to go through some of the parts that this will come with. So at the telescope end, we have the end of the corrector. I was going to put that down there. We have that also comes with this, and this will fit pretty much on that. Here I've got an Astro Essentials filter cell, which is simply, before we start focusing, a method of attaching that very same light pollution filter that I attached to my old imaging train, and I felt it was a good idea to put that in between there. It's not going to affect any of the focusing because we're focusing after the fact, after the light has passed through that particular filter. So that's the telescope side, and then at the telescope side, excuse me, at the telescope side we've got the field flattener, the initial lens. So we put that on. We'll just tighten that so it's just nice, not too tight, because everyone hates untightening these. But there are some great clamps that you can buy to if you do happen to tighten them too much, or you leave them in a place tightened for too long and they get a bit stiff. But there are clamps that you can get. So then we got the other side, and as you can see, it's almost reflective on that side. You can almost see that. When you buy this, they say it's going to be 75mm for your back focus from the point of engagement or the lens, and I'm worried about that. The reason I'm worried about that is my imaging train requires a 55/56mm back focus, but it did come with this. I have put this on the end, but essentially these two parts. This is also two parts. Just get this off. This is something I put on for this video just to avoid having. I think it's two parts. I felt like two parts before. So there's a spacer, and that will actually provide you with that 55mm back focus that you require, which is the same as what we have here. However, that 55mm back focus is achieved by, from what you can see, the push fit. About the push fit of the Stellar Mirror. Now, the Stellar Mirror is a brand that's specifically it's probably a First Light Optics brand, own brand sort of thing. Have its this is pretty good, and I'm just going to detach that from the Zwo. And this is replacing my Star Travel imaging train with the one that we get from the cat just went flying. The imaging train that we're going to have to use on the Esprit. And this is this particular field flattener is optically managed. And not optically managed, optically set and built to the same standards and to fit the three lenses. So we try and find a thread. We found it. It's far more seems that is such a wider diameter than what I've been using previously. So what we have is the M48 interface. We've got the spacer, which gives the extra 20 millimeters of space for the 75 millimeter back focus. We've got the field flattener, which is a couple of extra lenses that flatten the field to the lens here, and also, for that matter, to the guide camera as well. Come out here. We've got the main fitting. Then I've got focus doesn't matter at this point. We're just doing a bit of filtering of light. We've got a light pollution suppression filter in there, and then at this point I can remove that, and we have the final adapter, which should allow us to attach it to the Esprit itself. So just put that on. Now, one of the nice things about the Stellar mirror is that it's a push fit adapter. So, you know, once you've got all your telescopes set up and everything else, all you're doing is you push it in, tighten, like I'm doing here with these. Well, I say I am. I'm turning these, but what I'm essentially saying is that's a 2-inch, and I just pulled that out, and I could just put something in, a different 2-inch eyepiece, a different 2-inch diagonal. It sounds like I'm going to have to be doing this quite a bit, and that possibly something's going to be landing on the floor. But I'm assuming I've got the right one, and I'm assuming I'll put it on this. Do I want to be turning? Do I want to be turning all these things around? It's a bit. It's kind of sort of. I want to get something that's going to allow me to push fit this, because when you're doing this, yeah, when you're doing this in dark, it's not particularly great, is it? So I know that'll fit. It's more about coming up with a method of doing this without necessarily rotating the camera like 100 times. Particularly when I've got, yeah, it's a big array of stuff. So a push fit would be better. However, I'm not going to get that. If I had a larger sensor, this is the thing, that this is what might happen in the dark, is you don't realise that things are not going to necessarily go quite your way. So a good way of getting this, rather than turn the main item around, is to half turn the other item, and then we tighten it. And we go to a certain point. Now what I should be able to do, and I need to work out everything here. So normally when I attach the imaging train to a telescope, what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up so that subsequent imaging sessions are exactly the same. So I want to ensure that I line up. These are tight. That's never been disconnected since I put it on. So all I'll do is line up this with that and make sure that they're both level with each other. And that way I know that I'm going to be within a degree or two of the same. And there is a way from the manual that I've seen to ensure that I can lock this back and make sure that that always happens. However, it's so much easier with push fit. Now that's only an M48 on the outside, or 2-inch, and I appreciate this bigger. And if I had a bigger sensor on the camera, then I would probably appreciate the extra setup requirements of doing this bit. However, for the minute, that was so much easier, and doing that in the dark. At a dark site, you might be dropping stuff in the mud. Yeah, I don't know. But this makes this now a 5-lens apochromatic refractor, an imaging refractor, and this is matched to the stuff that's here as well. Whereas this is just a generic f5 to f7 flattener, might not necessarily match what you need to do. So I'm looking forward to getting this whole train pointed at stars at some point in the future. But that's all we get to see for now. I hope you enjoyed this video and it's been instructional to you in some way or form. Great, clear skies, and well, have fun if you got something similar.